Hello, hello, and welcome, dear hearts, dear friends, brothers, and sisters. Welcome to this beautiful episode of Ascension TV online. I'm joined today by the beautiful and wise Angela Orora Medway-Smith. And for those of you who haven't met me in person and heard the story, I met Angela, I think about 6 years ago. It's pre-COVID. And I woke up one day and I was at my ex-partner's home and I thought I need to go to a spirit fair. I just had this really clear download, had a little look on Facebook, found the fair, got in my car and off I went in the morning, and I walked into this fair and I looked around and Angela was doing a talk first thing. Right, I got there almost bang on like 10 o'clock, half 10 or so. And I was like, this is the lady out of everyone. And I had a session with her. And then years later, we're in books together and we've just spent a beautiful, hot and melting weekend at the Healing Weekend down in Somerset. It was absolutely beautiful. Angela was doing readings and I was doing healings. So it's such an honor to welcome Angela here on the show, and we're going to talk a little bit about what Angela does and things that are coming up for us in the next few months. So thank you, Angela. Welcome. And are you now back in London or are you in Wales?
I'm back in London. I've been traveling around. So I was in London, then Wales, then Somerset, and now back to London, and now just fully landing after. I mean, I've been thinking about it. We had 4 days of melting temperatures. It was up to 37 degrees. We were in a marquee presenting workshops, showing people how beautiful books, healing, reading. And it doesn't normally take me this long to land, but it's taken me a real 48 hours to land after that experience. So for those of you who don't know, the Healing Weekend Festival happens the second weekend of July every year at Secret World Rescue, Wildlife Rescue in at Highbridge in Somerset. It's run by a wonderful lady called Elaine Fenton. So much healing happens. We're really blessed that we join Divine Energy International, which is a not-for-profit charity that we organise and support, that supports healers all around the world, who are practitioners in different modalities, and basically share the joy of energy healing.
Amazing. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, I'm so blessed to have been asked to be a trustee on the DEI. So if you're interested in that, go check us out, Divine Energy International. But I'm going to bring you right back to the beginning, Angela, of your journey. How about telling our viewers a little bit about yourself, what's led you to here and what happened right at the beginning of your journey?
Oh, my days. Right. So 40 years ago, um, I'm very old. I'm 62. Um, so 40 years ago, I had a rather rude awakening, and it was it was an epic scale. I went along and did a meditation at a tarot class. First time I'd ever done a meditation, first time I'd ever put my hands on a tarot deck, and literally it was as if somebody had pulled a switch in a nuclear power station and all my clair senses switched on. It was terrifying. I could see spirit. I walked into the bathroom and put my like immediately needed to put my hands in water because there was so much heat coming from them. The water bubbled. I looked in the mirror. I could see it wasn't me looking back. I looked back. I could see my aura. It was mind blowing. I came out of there and told this wonderful lady, what's going on? And she looked absolutely terrified. This is the first class she'd ever held. And she said, "You need my teacher." And she scribbled a name on a piece of paper and a phone number. And it was a lady called Betty Balcombe. Phone Betty, well, lots happened on the way home on the tube. I started feeling people's pain. I mean, it was just horrendous. Everything. My clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience. all the Claires just switched on. So I rang Betty the following day, and she said, "Ah, I've been waiting for you to phone me."
Mhm.
And yeah, arranged to go and meet with her at her home because she held she taught in Hampstead in North London. I was living in London at the time. She taught in Hampstead in North London during the day, but I had a day job. So once a week on a Wednesday evening, she had about 4 or 5 people to her home. So it was a really small circle. And basically, Betty taught me everything that she knew. She was the most incredible teacher. You can still find her books on Amazon, really old books.
No.
And by the time I'd sat with her for 3 or 4 years, she gave me permission to teach her course,
Okay.
which I then went and did in Australia. I was traveling in Australia in 1990.
Wow.
And then what happened was, so I spent 7 years with Betty altogether before Spirit moved me back to Wales. And it was nuts. So within a week, met my wonderful husband, and we've been married 32 years and have 2 beautiful children. So they move me about when they need me to move about.
Yes, I understand.
So yeah, yeah. I then sort of hid under the radar. I was working in mental health services,
Oh, yeah.
running a support and housing charity for people with mental health problems.
Well,
And so basically, I was bringing healing to everybody who came through the door, anybody who was involved in that work.
right. Yeah.
And I spent nearly 20 years in that organization before I sort of came out and um, started to tell my colleagues, you know, actually I'm psychic, I'm a medium, I can, you know, I read cards, I use energy for the highest good.
Sure.
Because my training was in spiritual healing initially.
Mhm. Yeah.
And from there, it kind of spirit moved me from that organization,
Yeah.
like really, another sharp move,
Yeah.
which brought me back to myself and brought me back to wanting to do what I'm here on the planet to do. And that's teach people, empower people how they can be the best version of themselves that they can be. And whether that's through spiritual consultations, whether it's through life and soul alignment coaching, whether it's through mentoring, whether it's through teaching healers, whether it's through the beautiful books that they've had me channeling, writing, and leading for the past, I think it's about 6 years altogether. It's been a wild ride. And yeah, so these days, I mean, you know, it's it that my business morphed from working, traveling back and forth to London from Wales, working at places like Mysteries in Covent Garden,
Mhm.
working at Stepping Stones in Greenwich, to then starting my own spiritual fairs and festivals
Mhm.
and spiritual events in Llanelli,
Amazing.
which which I did pre-COVID, which brought so much healing to the thousands of people that came to them.
Mm.
And then when it was time, Spirit said, right, we want you to hand these over to somebody else, and we want you to teach now.
Right.
So, and then it was teaching spiritual healing, teaching angelic Reiki, learning different short attunement based healing systems. For the very simple reason that people don't want to wait a year to be attuned to spiritual healing anymore. You know, when I was teaching for Healer Practitioner Association International, we had to have 30 hours, felt like 30 years, 30 hours of classroom teaching and 70 hours of practice, and then full assessments by an independent teacher. And I would assess the students on their distant healing as well. Um, I did lots of things for that. I set up healing clinics so that they could work in the community, and had them working at my fairs, so that they had lots of different experiences at working with the public. People don't want to take a year to do that anymore. So, you can, these days, I can teach a healing modality online, and you can start working with, for example, divine energy healing for yourself, straight away.
Sure.
It's incredible.
Would you
And
would
of course,
you say that, sorry to interrupt you there. Would you say that that's part of the changes that we're going through? So things are speeding up and spirit just wants people to start healing?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the big shift started in 2012, when the vibration of the chat planet shifted, and we had access to not just 7 sacred flames and divine rays anymore, but to 28. And then another huge shift happened in 2020, when people actually began to go inward and look for, what am I here for? What is this all about? It was a huge period of awakening for people.
It was such a big time for me watching people that had never stopped working have to stop and sit with themselves. People were facing things. I was working still because of the job that I was in, but it was incredible because I've had time out. If you don't know my story, I've been sectioned when I had my big awakenings, and that's a big part of my 20s. So I had a lot of time out of work, a lot of time contemplating, questioning the world. But a lot of people hadn't had that opportunity. If you're working flat out raising a family, you just don't have the opportunity, didn't it? So can I ask you that? So that changed for you. You stopped doing the fairs and then you stepped into a different role. Do you want to tell me about the different books that you started channeling and bringing through then, Angela, in that?
Yeah. So it was about 2017, 2018 that, through another psychic, Spirit told me that I would be writing a book called the Book of Many Colors. And I just laughed, and I said, "Oh, I've got no intention of writing a book. I haven't got that in me." And then at the next festival, because these were festivals that I was running, at the next festival, Spirit dropped in and said, "We need you to gather these 5 people, and they are going to sit with you so that you learn to channel." And I mean, I had to go out to these people who I didn't know very well and say, "Oh, by the way, we were introduced by so and so, and I'm Angela, and I've just been asked, would you be interested in joining a circle to support me with my trans channeling development?" And I had, huge yeses from these 5 people. And that it took a year then for me to be able to. I was already channeling, but for me to be able to hold the energy of Saint Germain, it was Saint Germain that was coming through initially. And it got to the point where I could work with him for an hour
Yeah.
without any effect on my blood sugar, because I'm a type 1 diabetic. So that was why I had to take that time to learn. But by this point, they were introducing different ascended masters, different angels, and archangelic collectives in through my energy fields. And for people who don't know what this means, a medium is generally termed a mental medium, and that's somebody who is working with the spirit world through the clair senses,
Yeah.
but may hear, feel, see, or use their other senses to bring messages forward. A trance medium has learned how to move their consciousness out of their body so that these incredible celestial beings and masters and angels can actually drop in and use the body for direct communication. So I move out, they move in, and I've got quite strict boundaries with them. So I'm present, I hear what's going on, which not all trance mediums are. So I work in light, what's called light trance.
Okay.
So the first book that came through, Caroline, I don't even know if I've told you this. They was in the Dominican Republic, slap bang in 2020, in the middle of the pandemic.
Wow.
Now, who goes to Dominican? I mean, Spirit just said to me, you need to go there. And I had an invitation to go there to help a beautiful soul sister host retreats at this idyllic little hotel in the very north of the Dominican Republic, a place called Salmon Bay, where the whales go to have their babies.
Oh, beautiful.
And it was absolutely stunning. And because the energy was so clear, the channeling was coming through really thick and fast. And so the first book took me a while to pull together because of my human self getting in the way.
I never
Yeah,
had that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. They sent me the money to do it. They sent me an actual book coach
Okay.
who I did an exchange with. And I mean, we're circling back to Mary Magdalene here
Sure.
because I was channeling Magdalene. This wonderful lady called Ava Andrea, who's written the foreword in the Magdalene Oracle, which is our latest book that's coming out on the 22nd of July. She looked at my book and gave me a bit of guidance. So basically, she only told me one thing. She said, it's perfect. The only thing you don't do is tell people about you. And I said, well, it's not about me. And she said, yeah, but people will want to know about you and who you are. And that hadn't occurred to me because I was really new at it. So then came book collaborations, and I learned how to write very short chapters
Mm.
and then give people tools to help them deal with life. So my first collaboration was in a book called 25 Tools for Goddesses, for members of the Wellness Universe. And I'd been a Wellness Universe member since 2015, since it had started. So I had an invitation to write in that book. And then several books followed that where I was writing in collaborations before, I've missed the Book of Many Flames out, which was a crazy story. It took 7 days to channel that book
Wow.
and get it. Yeah, yeah. So basically I planned 2 weeks. I knew I was going to be channeling a book. I planned 2 weeks and I was staying with my lovely friend. A lady called Mary Banks. She's the angel lady of Merlin's Bridge.
Ooh, she sounds wonderful.
She's amazing. She's just the best and very, very wise lady. And so I booked to go and stay with Mary. And on the Saturday, Spirit said to me, oh, you're not writing that book, you're writing this book. So, and I was going down on the Monday. So then I said, okay, well, you just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Arrived on the Monday, started settling in, getting set up, started with a few channelings. Tuesday morning, in pops Saint Germain. Now, this is the 25th of January, 2022. And he said, I want this published on 22/2/22.
Okay.
And I just laughed. There was nothing. There was nothing. I just laughed. So I just said, okay, deep breath. You're going to have to send me the funds to pay the publisher, the editor, and the publishing process. You're going to have to give me the energy to do it. You're going to have to make sure that the publisher has got space for me. You're going to have to mm, mm, find somebody who can proofread this book for me as well as me before it goes
Sure.
to Michelle, my publisher. And, and yeah, I'll be of service. And so overnight, I had enough money to pay Michelle. Overnight, bookings came in
Yeah.
for courses I was running, exactly the right amount. I sent her an email and she said, yes, of course. It was the 222nd email in her box, and her birthday was the 22nd. So she said, she said, go for it. I'm going to be here for you. So this was a Tuesday. I had the day off on the Sunday and did something completely different. And at 7 a.m. on the Thursday morning, I hit send on a fully typeset, proofread manuscript of 37,000 words with 30 channelings in it to Michelle. And then she rang me at 9 o'clock and said, Angela, you're not going to believe this. The person whose manuscript I was supposed to be working on today, her manuscript's not ready, so I can get to work on this immediately.
just I'm going to just pause you there. So viewers, if you've ever had one of those ideas pop in your head and you just say, no way, I can't do this, that's not true. Okay, so if it's in alignment for your highest good and the highest good of all, say yes, ask for the help, and this is what happens. I've had similar things, not quite as extreme, but it absolutely, spirit will spend time, move things out the way. People will make space, because when we're in alignment, right, this is what happens. So thanks. Carry on, Angela. I just wanted to share, this is not just because Angela or just because of me doing this. This is, everybody has this opportunity. If you're in service and you're really devoted to being of service, spirit will help you, and ask. Yeah, you just have to ask. But so carry on, Angela.
Yeah, I mean, anything that you're doing that is in alignment with your soul's path, anything that you're doing, not always necessarily in service. So it can be somebody who wants to get a job doing something something different, completely different. Do you know what I mean? But if that's in alignment with their highest good, it's going to go super fast.
Sure.
And I can give you so many different examples in my life of this happening. But then, as soon as Many Flames was published, Saint Germain started being a bit more directive and just a bit. And he wanted me to lead an oracle, and he wanted it called the Energy Healers Oracle. And this turned out to be a series of books to help people understand that there are more modalities than simply spiritual healing or Asui Reiki. They're the ones that are in the popular mind, in the communal mind. But there are hundreds, particularly with the shift in the planetary consciousness, and which has enabled more more people. I won't say that we're special or anything, more people to download healing modalities, because both you and I have downloaded more than one healing modality. So in volume 1 of the Energy Healers Oracle, I talk about divine feminine Reiki, and you talk about
Shaman's hand.
like shaman's hands. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and that book was named number 21 of the top 100 best healing books of all time by Book Authority. I'm just blown away by that.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen that book, if you haven't been around Angela or I on a stand at a fair or something, just to let you know, these books are collaborations of healers that Angela has known through her different work. And it's people who are healers but are turned into authors so we can share our work. So the chapters are really short. They're so easy to read, aren't they? And it's been such a
Yeah.
gift for me because I wrote my first book. And it's funny when you were saying about going to the Dominican Republic, right?
Yeah.
I was in Portugal when I wrote the first segment, big segment, and it just came out. It was like over a month. I would just sit for half an hour a day, boom, boom, boom. So again, if you think writing a book has to take years, it can take years for the process because for me, my human got in the way. But I was there in Portugal. It's very light energy, and it just came down. It just dropped in. It's meant to happen. But working through the Energy Healers Oracle and the volumes 1 and 2, and now going on to other books with Angela and our friend Lenny Savonde Walcom. The process of writing a very clear and short, concise chapter really helps, like, channel our wisdom into a very succinct point. Because if you're like a storyteller like we are today, you can share so much, but sometimes it's really good just to pick that one story, isn't it? So in all of these books, there is an arc. Somebody's sharing something that happened to them, something profound. And again, they're people like you and I that have just taken their steps and they keep saying yes to their intuition and end up living in their soul alignment. So the Shaman's Hands for me is a collaboration or collection of things that I would have done in other lives. It's not new per se, but it's new to me in this life, and it may be new to other people. But really, we're activating a lot of people's souls remembrance, wouldn't you say, Angela?
Yeah, yeah. And we're actually giving them, I mean, the subtext of the Oracle, the Energy Healers Oracle is tools for total transformation. So there is something for everybody in those books, in all of the Oracle books, because as well as inspirational stories, you're given tools, sacred practices, and processes that you can follow. And you can turn to them time and time and time again and just pick them up off the shelf and say, what do I need today?
Sure.
And you're given a beautiful practice or a meditation or a such a gift. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I know that the Oracle books have created a tsunami of healing as they've spread around the world.
Oh,
And because we have no idea who is picking up the books, what's changing in their lives. And I don't know, have you seen that? There's a it's not a meme, it's a cartoon that goes around where there's one shiny soul in this mass of
okay.
little grey souls, and that soul shines brighter. So they're affecting their community. So they become bright, and they become bright, and they become bright, until you've got all of these once grey, downtrodden souls all shining bright and shining their light,
So
which
beautiful.
is which is what I believe we're here to do. We're
So
here to live our lives in the best possible way that we can. Sometimes living very difficult and learning very difficult lessons.
mhm.
But it's how we then turn those lessons into the learning for ourselves and for others as we then begin to shine brighter is the key, really, you
I
know?
so hear you, Angela, and you make me think of some of the stories that I've shared in the chapters, because often I have read the other authors and thought, goodness me, I've just shared this really heavy. Certainly in the Magdalene Oracle, I was like, this is my healing crisis of the year, and I was there with all these amazing luminaries who are very, a lot of them are very much in their power. They've got that, they've been doing this work for years. I feel like I've been kind of off radar for a while in my life. But actually, when people have fed back to me about what they've read in my story, they're like, oh, thank you. Because it's here's what I'm challenged with, and then here's what's happening. Because otherwise, you see, and I used to have it when I was a kid, you see people up there and you think, oh, they just perfect and I can never get there. But you don't always hear the backstory. And of course, everyone, especially if you're healing, in this time more than at any other time, which is really what Ascension TV is all around, is sharing what that process is, because really in order to be in alignment with our soul, we're picking up soul parts all the way. We're having soul challenges, aren't we? And in this lifetime, more than any others, I believe many of us, maybe not most of us, but many of us will be accessing multiple timelines, shutting down timelines, releasing and healing. So it's not just, oh, I'm going to heal my child wound about my mum, or this one problem about my friend. It's mirroring all the different layers, and that's why I feel all these tools are coming to the fore, because what resonates to somebody isn't going to resonate to everybody. And if you've had lives in Native America, then you're going to really resonate to shamanism. But if you haven't, then maybe you think, well, I don't really understand that. And that's why there's all these different energy technologies in a way, such from EFT to to shamanic practices. They all have their part, don't they? I'm aware that my battery is just coming low, and I want to plug in. My bad, learning as we go. But I'm going to ask you, Angela, to move on, because you've got two oracles coming out very soon.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So go and plug in, and I'll chatter away.
About that.
So the so my guide team have been really directive, and I was instructed that I'd be leading two oracle books this year. So the one being released next week on the Feast of the Magdalene, 22nd of July, 2025, if you're listening to this in the future, is called the Magdalene Oracle Awakening the Power of the Rose. And that is basically an invitation into a sacred journey of remembrance, empowerment, and spiritual awakening. The incredible Sisters of the Rose who have written in our beautiful transmission, because it's not just a book, it's a transmission. They draw on ancient mystery traditions, contemporary Magdalene teachings, and they share practices, channeled messages, and their stories that guide readers to reclaim their sovereignty and embody divine love. So, with Mary Magdalene's teachings as its heart, this book opens a path of personal and collective healing. And rooted in the sacred symbol of the rose, we also have a deeper connection with the divine feminine, but also the divine masculine, promoting balance and heart-centered wisdom and reawakening soul memory. So that's coming out next week, and I'm so excited. We've had such incredible feedback from our peer reviewers, from our advanced reader team, and I can't wait to get it into people's hands. Having the physical book in your hands is a game changer, because not only do you have the contents of the book, but you also have your hands touching energetic transmissions on the front and the back cover. We're so blessed that we have two visionary artists who've contributed. Carol Yambrak Rose, who's really well known for her work with the Magdalene, and we've had a beautiful image of Mary Magdalene and the 15-strand DNA on the front cover. And on the back is a red gold rose, painted by Marita Bat. And this is terrible. Bat Shaman. That's terrible. I can't remember Marita's name. By Marita, who literally came in the last few weeks, and I had to redo the back cover to be able to place the rose on the back cover. So even when you're holding the book in your hands, you don't have to do anything. You're still getting healing. It's just phenomenal. And then on 11/11, we have the book that I wish had been in my hands 40 years ago. So we have the Intuitives Oracle, powerful practices from intuitive psychics and mediums. So this is a book that will help people who are at lots of different stages of their journey, working with developing their intuition, starting their mediumship, perhaps learning how to channel trance, how to develop their psychic abilities. And I mean, there isn't a book like it because there isn't. If you order a single book, then you've got one teacher teaching you their work.
Sure.
This is teachers from all around the planet who work in completely different ways. So it's really illuminating. And we were in the editing process at the moment. So I've been seeing some of the chapters coming in and it's sort of wow. Yeah, I just so that everybody knows, anything that runs through any of my books, I try the practice. I do it myself because if it doesn't resonate with me, I'll go back to the author and say, actually, you might want to tweak this a little bit. It's not flowing well. So I think this is because of my experience, like 40 years experience in that field. This is why Spirit have had me working with the energy healers and the Magdalene and the intuitives. So I can't wait for that to come into the world.
Oh,
And one more thing, it's wrapped in incredible energy. So both the Energy Healers Oracle books and the Intuitive Oracle, the artwork has been channeled by Jennifer Hawkyard, who's an incredible lady who is a divine channel, and she has actually done 3 decks or 4 decks for Kyle Gray, I think.
beautiful.
Yeah, Jenny's work is just exquisite. Absolutely love Jenny. And
If you're, so I'll just pause you for a moment. Sorry there, Angela. If you're a viewer and you don't know these names, I will be on the description below. I will pop in links to all of the different people that Angela has mentioned over the interview because it's so worth chasing up these different people. They're beautiful. And if you would like to buy one of the books, you can go to my website, openlotusliving.com, or you can go to Angela's website, carryadspiritual.com. Is that right for you?
yeah.
You can find
I
them.
mean, yeah. Jenny also sells prints of the artwork of the covers. And she sells our books on her website as well. And as well as that, obviously we're on Amazon and we're on all of the different ebook platforms from Apple to Kobo to and yeah, and even in the US, you can even find our books in Walmart. It's just incredible.
And it just shows you from small seeds grow great trees. Okay. So, if again, viewers, if you have something that's just, a tiny little whisper, keep blowing your energy on it, ask for that angelic help, and it will come into fruition. It may not come in the time that you want it to. I know I'm very impatient. I have a download of an idea, you can see it fully formed, and you think, well, why isn't it here yesterday? It doesn't work like that. We get it and it anchors, and then we start our energy shift, and then at some point, like today with this interview with Angela, it's time and off you go. So we're coming to a close. I was hoping that we might have time for meditation, but I wouldn't want to go in and then stop us short because I need to, because of timing today. Angela, I'm going to ask you if there was wisdom or a tool or a gift that one thing that you would like to share with our viewers in terms of the times that we're in, the awakening, the ascension that's happening for us as individuals and collectively, what would that be? Or a few things, if that would be something that you could inspire them or encourage them to do.
Okay. I mean, the large part of my work is working with the divine rays and sacred flames,
Yes, okay.
and they are just the most incredible tools and host of allies that you can have at your back at your beck and call as and when you want to work with them. It's actually really, really simple. if you're going shopping for something, you go to a specialist shop. You wouldn't go to, I don't know, Marks and Spencer's to buy a chainsaw. You'd go to a shop that sells chainsaws. I mean, that's a really, dramatic example.
No, it's perfect.
Similarly, it's about finding the right angel, the right ascended master to help you with whatever stuff you need.
Mm.
So I do a huge amount of work with the violet flame. I do violet flame awakenings. They're activations of an energy portal within you. So you can go and work with the violet flame for anything about transmuting energy, transforming energy.
Mm.
You might work with, that's the seventh sacred ray. You might work with the ascended masters Kuan Yin and Jwal Kul. If you're looking for harmony and compassion, you might work with the Magdalene frequency and the Magdalene ray for anything to do with divine feminine work, for working with the inner child, for working with new beginnings, Mother Mary for nurture on the sixth ray, the 90th ray, Lady and Army for working with voidal energies, and the cosmic ascended master, the Merlin, for manifestation.
Oh,
There are 28 different shops on the high street, if you like, that you can pop into
yeah,
and ask for support with those specific things.
beautiful.
And,
I'm going
people
to
might,
and get your card deck, because what Angela's talking about is the body of work that she's channeled in the Book of Many Colors and the Book of Many Flames. But there's also a card deck. So one moment, Angela, because I am absolutely, I love these decks. And the work, as you said, you can choose different masters for different aspects of your life. So if you're interested, beautiful friends who are watching, you can buy this deck that is the complementary oracle deck to the two books there. And on each card, you have a number, the type of energy that you're working with, a symbol, and the being. So, for example, this is 33, and my partner Rob, this is his number. So, within the book of colors, is it Money Colors?
many colors.
You've got divine, you've got a destiny numerology
Yeah,
system, haven't
yeah.
you? So years, what feels like lifetimes ago, because so much is happening in each year. I had a reading with Angela, a divine destiny numerology reading. Yeah, so it was a full reading for all of my numerology, and that was so helpful for me, because as Angela's saying, you start finding out about ascended masters and angels, you go, where to start? It's like going into school and going, who's my best friend? Like, how, I don't know who to talk to. And of course, there is a rhyme and reason to it. But when we first start, you say, well, who do I ask? Why are they going to work with me? And in this system, that you use your the numbers of your birthday, your name, and all of these things, which are all predestined, pre-life, to find out the masters that work with you. And it's funny you mentioned Kuan Yin and Jwa Kul, because that's my life number.
Yeah.
In this body of work for this lifetime, the eighth ray and the ray of compassion and harmony. So if you're interested, please go and check out Angela's website and the books and these cards, because they're just absolutely beautiful. And who did the artwork on these, Angela?
So the wonderful Kieran Morgan.
Of course it was.
So,
and I didn't want to say that.
yeah, I work with Kieran. I do a lot of work with Kieran.
Absolutely beautiful. So you can buy these, but also the other thing that I was guided that you haven't mentioned yet is Angela has also made and channeled 7 different ray aura sprays. Okay, and these connect with some of the rays in the book. There isn't the whole 28, but there's 7 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. So again, go online or find her at a fair, because I have these sprays, and I literally don't leave the house without one of them jumping out and offering their energy to me. So there's a little bit of promotion for you, Angela, because I just,
oh, bless you, thank you.
And to me, this is another aspect of my work that I haven't quite stepped into in full power yet, but really connecting people, like pretty much on all sessions that I do, I get guided to these cards, because the masters want to help us. And if you don't ask, as they have to stand in free will. They're not like your nosy neighbor or your mum going, oh, you want to do that. They won't do that unless you're going to die. They
Mm.
will intervene. They'll stop things. But really, they don't have, in their divine will, they're not going to overstep free will, are they, Angela? Do you want to just say a little bit more about that before we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I hear it from them all the time. It's ask, you don't ask, you don't get. It
Absolutely.
really is that simple. And they so want to support us. And we've got this huge, huge, it's like having an arena filled with people who can help us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so we can, if we want to work with something new, we can ask for guides who are experts on that to support us,
yeah,
and they will drop in, and our progress will be much
yeah,
smoother and faster. We can ask the Elohim to bend time for us
yeah.
when we're working and we've got huge amounts of work to get through, and we need to make sure that we get it done. You know, everything that we've talked about, I mean, they do work. They do work. I've done 4 hour journeys in 2.5 hours and not broken the speed limit
Sure. Yeah.
because I've needed to. I've asked them respectfully, could I, and this is a thing. There's a book called The Isaiah Effect by Greg Braden that I read years ago that talks about this concept of bending time. But the short form is you can do it. Just tune into the Elohim and ask the Elohim to help you, not to help you go and get your shopping done.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about that. It's about, doing something that's for the highest good of all. I don't overstep the mark. It's about knowing the boundaries as well and being respectful and always saying thank you. You know, that's the thing.
The prayers are such a big gift, aren't they? So really, to summarize what we've just talked about in the last few minutes, make your prayers, but also connect to the masters, the angels, even your own higher self, and your own God, I couldn't think of the word then, a guardian angel. Even if you only connected to those aspects, everything will start being easier. I've remembered this going, oh, I don't know what to cook, I don't know what to cook. Oh, I just make a prayer. And I just get this idea, something that I've never thought about. And it just shows itself to me. Thank you. Because like Angela, I have a lot of soul projects on right now. And it's taken me work to factor those out, build the systems and do that. And I don't want to be spending hours trawling on the internet to find a recipe. And literally the answer comes in, or where should we go for a walk? I get an answer, and then we're guided to a sacred, an old monument or something like this. So there's so many ways that we can ask for help, and like Angela said, there are so many beings that want to help us, but we have to ask for help, and that's part of our stepping into our power, but also into self-love, saying that I'm worthy of that, and that gets challenging. It's definitely something that I've felt a challenge with as well. So
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
to we're what time to wind up, but have you got one last message or something that you'd like to share?
Yes. Well, two things. One, please go to my website, sign up for my newsletter because I send you free stuff and you won't get spammed. And I usually give away meditations. There's always I'm divinely guided. So it's stuff that's in there is if it lands in your inbox and you think, oh, that's interesting, it's because you need it. And the last but not least is you are divine. You are a spark of the divine. You are so loved. And please always remember that wherever you are on your journey, it is where you need to be right now. And it is part of your growth. Just please understand that. And just sending so much love.
Ah, Angela, thank you so much. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I had a wobble yesterday, and that's like, yeah, we have to remember we're going through so many shifts right now so that we can heal, and we're healing the collective, we're healing lifetimes of stuff. So, absolutely, really hearing that message. Thank you so much, Angela. So, beautiful viewers, thank you so much. You can check below or look on the different platforms because the links will be somewhere else depending on how you're viewing this. But so much love to you all. Check in again, and we hope to see you either on another episode or on our websites or through the books. So reach out, get in touch, make your comments, feedback, and we'll love to hear your feedback and anything you'd like to share with us. So thank you so much, Angela. I'm going to say goodbye now, and we will see you very soon. Take care, and so much love, my friends. Bye for now.